The Jak 110A is a microtrans line, aka they use these minibuses and are free to ride, that starts in the Goethe Institute and makes a convoluted clockwise loop. So convoluted that it's less of a circle and more of a very deformed figure 8. This line passes by just behind the Jakarta Theatre, Tugutani, Cikini Station, UI Salemba campus, and back to the Goethe Institute. This route is mainly for short local trips inside of Menteng, or for connecting locals and the many institutions here to either the Bogor Line or Corridor 5. And if you're wondering if there's a Jak 10B, the Jak 10B runs a simple clockwise loop, also starting in the Goethe Institute before heading its way north to Gambir Station that does not serve the Bogor Line but instead has a billion intercity trains terminating in it. It then heads east where you meet with Corridor 5 before heading west to Cikini Station and back to the Institute. The Jak 78B runs a deformed counterclockwise loop with a tail on the western end. The terminus is not located in the tail and instead is located in Jembatan 3. It mainly connects locals to Corridor 9, Season City Mall, and the two train stations being Duri and Angke. Duri serves both the Cikarang and Tangerang lines, while Angke is where some Cikarang line service patterns terminate and turn around. Microtrans lines usually have frequencies higher than every 10 minutes, but traffic can certainly make your wait time significantly longer. Tracking is done via the Transjakarta app or Google Maps. The 2Q is a non-BRT line that last time I rode uses large low-floor Metro Trans buses, which is interesting because this line is hilariously short at just 5 kilometers, and buses were running mostly empty when I tried it. It makes a counterclockwise loop connecting Gondang Dia Station with the City Hall and National Library, which is also a place where you can transfer to Corridor 2. In my experience, buses run every 15 to 20 minutes. The Intermoda, the Park Intermoda line, is an extremely convoluted and deformed bidirectional loop that mainly connects Cisauk Station with almost every major destination in West BSD. The clockwise loop starts in Intermoda, making its way north, making a detour to Ice, passing by Cubic, actually entering Gading Serpong just to make a U-turn, passing by the Park, the Breeze, Extreme Park, before returning to Intermoda. Meanwhile, the counterclockwise loop starts in Intermoda, enters the Icon, passes by Extreme Park, the Breeze, Aeon Mall, the Park, Cubic, Ice, and back to Intermoda. This line runs every 75 minutes, but there is a schedule which you can access via the One Smile app, and I've tried it and the bus actually arrived. The KRL Cikarang Line runs a bidirectional loop around central Jakarta with a very long tail that stretches all the way to Cikarang. Keep in mind that many trains do not do the full loop. This also means that frequencies vary within the line, with the Angke-Bekasi section being extremely frequent with sub-10-minute headways, while the Kampung Bandansan and Jatinegara section is the least frequent, with frequencies often being half-hourly. For a comprehensive video on this line, watch the Cikarang Line Explain video. Trans Banyumas Line 3A and 3B are loop lines that operate inside the city of Purwokerto, which is located in Banyumas Regency. The 3A runs clockwise and vice versa. Both lines start in Bulupitu Terminal, which is located on the southeast corner of the city, before making a massive loop around the outskirts of Purwokerto, passing close to Purwokerto Station on the western side and UMP University on the eastern side. Both lines do eventually make a detour to the center of the city on the eastern segment of the loop, south of UMP. You can check the live location of this system and bus systems of many Indonesian cities outside of Jakarta using the Mitra Darat app. Trans Semarang Line 3A and 3B are deformed loop lines that provide north-south transit to Semarang. The 3A runs clockwise while the 3B runs counterclockwise. Both lines start at what seemed to be a small terminal located within walking distance north from Semarang Tawang Station. Both lines go to Simpang 5 Semarang, where there's also the decently sized Semarang Citra Line Mall, and the southern tip of both lines is on the highway exit where the Jatinegara Krapiak Highway meets Jalan Teguh Umar. The 2 and 3 series start in Condong Jatuh Terminal. The 2 makes a telephone/banana-shaped loop that covers north, central, and southeast Yogyakarta, passing by Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta, Universitas Sanata Dharma, both the Yogyakarta and Lempuyangan train station, and the Gembira Loka Zoo. However, only the 2A runs in front of Malioboro Mall. The 2A runs counterclockwise while the 2B runs clockwise. The 3 series makes a larger loop that covers the entire eastern half of the city. Both lines stop by Adi Sucipto Airport, Sarjito Hospital, and both have a southern terminus, being in Giwangan Terminal. The 3A runs counterclockwise and vice versa. The 4 series starts in Giwangan Terminal, passing by Lempuyangan Station, both the Bethesda and Dr. Sarjito hospitals, and making a loop around Gajah Mada University, which is also the northernmost point of this line. This forms an elongated north-south loop around central and southern Yogyakarta. The 4A runs clockwise and vice versa. The 5 series forms a loop on the northeast side of the city, stopping by Condong Catur Terminal, Pakuan Mall Jogja, and Ambaruk Mall Plaza. The 5A runs counterclockwise and vice versa. Now, fortunately, Trams Jogja is pretty transparent with how frequently they plan on running their buses. According to their Instagram, the 2A runs every 21 minutes, while the 2B every 16. Both the 3A and 3B run every 12, while the 4A, 4B, 5A, and 5B run every 25 minutes. On to the dishonorable mentions, in which there's 3. The Trans Anggrek Circle Line is not a circle or loop. In fact, it comes nowhere close in closing on itself, and it's dead. Suteraloop is Alam Sutra's shuttle bus system, which died and that condemned the city until Transjakarta came to the rescue with the S61. The name, however, is accurate as the system actually consists of 3 loop lines. This needs to be revived so that it can be a feeder to the S61. Trans Patriot, not to be confused with Trans Bekasi Patriot, actually had a loop line. Starting in Harapan Indah, this line heads towards Central Bekasi, where it forms a large clockwise loop. Passing by Bekasi Station, Terminal Bekasi, Jatimulya LRT Station, Blue Plaza, and Revo Mall. Also, it's dead, and the mayor tried to revive it, only to realize that all the buses have rotted and they now need to get new buses. The Joglosemakerto is an intercity rail loop line. The name is literally a mashup of Jogja, Solo, Semarang, and Purwokerto. Being an intercity line, it is so infrequent that there's like 5 departures, so I'll just tell you all of them. Starting in Solo Balapan at 5:10 AM, the train departs the station running counterclockwise, passing by Semarang, Purwokerto, Yogyakarta, and back to Solo, completing a full loop. And then it continues north and terminates at Semarang, making 1 1/4 of a loop. Then at 6:10, another train departs Solo Balapan, doing a clockwise loop, this time doing exactly 1 loop and returning to Solo Balapan. Meanwhile, at 10:20 AM in Yogyakarta, a train departs west, doing about 1/4 to 1/3 of a loop before splitting from it and heading to Cilacap. There's also a departure from Cilacap to Yogyakarta at 6 AM. Meanwhile, at Purwokerto, a train leaves at 5:30 PM, headed north, doing the entire northern half of the loop before terminating at Solo Balapan. A full loop takes about 10 hours and 30 minutes and covers a distance of 578 kilometers. I should also mention that while this is an intercity service, it is pretty local. This is no Super Express Broma Anggrek and you will be stopping by a lot of small towns. However, trains do have 2 classes, economy and executive. Penataran Dhoho are local trains that serve the greater Surabaya region. Both lines start in Surabaya and head south. Upon reaching Wonokromo station, Penataran trains head south, making a clockwise loop via Malang and Blitar, while Dhoho trains head southwest, making a counterclockwise loop via Blitar and Malang. There's also services that do not do the whole loop and services that start in other cities such as Malang, Blitar, and Kertosono. Frequency is not exactly great as each line runs about once every couple of hours, but for the most part, we do have departures in the morning, afternoon, and night. Both lines have 8 departures a day. For Penataran, 5 of them start in Surabaya and 6 for Dhoho. For both lines, only 3 services do the full loop, though I think I can see the one reason why this line isn't running more frequently. This is Kertosono station. Here the tracks that head to Surabaya and the ones headed to Blitar come together and head west. This means Penataran Dhoho trains basically nosedive into the station with the locomotive now at the back. So they now need to move this locomotive to the other side of the train before continuing their journey. It's interesting, but you're not gonna get 10-minute headways with such a setup. If you're wondering, a full loop takes just under 12 hours, but most people aren't doing the full loop. A more reasonable trip from say Surabaya to Blitar using the Dhoho service takes just under 6. Trains are fully economy class. Jenggala is another local train in Greater Surabaya. It mainly connects Mojokerto with Surabaya and Indro, with some trains going further towards Babat. This line is in the video because there's 2 ways trains connect these 2 areas, via Sidoarjo or via Sepanjang. This forms a bidirectional triangle between Tarik and Wonokromo station. There are 7 departures a day in both directions, so this number will vary based on which station we're in, as no service runs through every single station in a single go, and unlike many other local trains, this one uses diesel multiple units. The entire Trans-Banjarbaru network literally consists of minibuses doing tiny loops, acting as a feeder bus to Trans-Banjarbaru. However, not all loops are equal, as some are perfect loops, some are loops with a tail, one forms a figure 8, and one is not actually a loop. Bacitra Line B is a bidirectional loop that covers a large chunk of Balikpapan. Due to Balikpapan's geography, where the geographic center of the city is quite hilly and therefore not very suitable for large roads or large buildings, the main road forms a natural loop around this hill along with many major trip generators, malls, hospitals, hotels, and the buses simply follow this loop. Service as well, it's not exactly the pinnacle of frequency, but there are a couple of departures an hour and live tracking seems to work for the most part. Some time ago this system actually died because angkot drivers didn't like having to compete with it, but they brought it back after the passengers did a counter-protest.
Pelanggan yang terhormat, jalan-jalan ke kota tua, lihat ondel-ondel